Greetings and welcome to another episode of Morrowind modding tutorials, and as always, I'm your host, Dark Elf Guy, and today we're going to be covering how to clean mods for Tes3cmd. And now for those who don't know, Tes3cmd is a powerful command line application that can be used to clean mods for Morrowind, or also, fix issues with various activated mods that you might have installed, or even merge level this and, do a few other things. And today we're going to be taking a look at how to clean individual mods with Tes3cmd, and also how to use the Tes3cmd Multipatch Command that allows you to fix various issues with activated mods, merge level this, and avoid potentially game crashing bugs, among other things. And we're also going to be taking a look at the somewhat dangerous Fixit Command, which can be useful at times, but only when used, with a bit of caution, because it is a bit of a broader command than some of the other ones that are a bit more specific. And yes, we have covered some of this material before in our How to Install Morrowind Mods tutorial video, and also in our Let's Mod Morrowind tutorial series. So yes, we are kind of, retreading over some of the same material here today, but hopefully we'll go into a bit more detail and depth here that will, help ease any potential confusion that some of you might have had out there regarding our previous tutorial videos. And on that note, it should be pointed out that there are links to written tutorials and also wikis down in the video description below. So if you find any part of this tutorial video to be confusing, you can go there and get a bit more information about how to use Tes3cmd. Or if you just find the sound of my voice to be somewhat aggravating, which of course I don't blame you for that, you'll find the links down below to be far more useful than listening to me drone on and on and on about these command line functions. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. You'll find timestamp annotations down below in the video description as well if you want to jump to a particular topic. But we're going to start out with how to install Tes3cmd. And of course, the very first thing that you'll need to do is download Tes3cmd. So I'm just going to open up our web browser, and you'll find the download link for Tes3cmd down in the video description below. And it's on this, page with a bunch of other files, including mlocks, which is very useful. We covered that in our How to Install Morrowind Mods tutorial video. But we're going to download Tes3cmd version 0.37 for Windows, because that's obviously what I'm using. I'm using a Windows 8 operating system, and of course Tes3cmd will work the same way on pretty much every Windows operating system. So let's just go ahead and download that. Alright, we've downloaded our Tes3cmd application, so now we need to install it into our Morrowind data files directory. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it'll be in the Morrowind install directory. And we do not have a Steam version of Morrowind installed on this particular computer. I have the disk version of Morrowind installed, which allows me to install my copy of Morrowind pretty much anywhere and make as many copies of my install as I need. So I have my own custom install path for Morrowind, but for those of you who have Morrowind on Steam, which is probably most of you out there, you'll find a sort of copy of the typical file path that you'll find your Morrowind install under down at the bottom of the screen here, just in case you need it. And anyways, my Morrowind install that we're going to be using here today is under Program Files Demo. In my case, I have about 30 Morrowind installs on this particular hard drive. I do a lot of mod showcases, so it helps to have a lot of different Morrowind installs just in case. So here's our Morrowind install directory. We're going to go to Data Files, and now we're just going to drag and drop our tes3command.exe file into our Data Files directory. And in my case, I already have it installed, so I'm just going to replace the file. And going back to the Morrowind install directory here, we're going to hold down Shift and right-click on Data Files, and then select Open Command Window here. And this will open a command window centered on our Data Files directory in our Morrowind install. Which is, of course, where we just installed our Tes3cmd application. And now, in order to demonstrate how to clean a mod, we first need to have a dirty mod to clean. So, real quick, I'm going to open up my data files directory again. I'm going to go to my mod download folder and select a random mod, like, let's go with a good cottage here. That seems like a mod that might be dirty. So we're going to open that. And we're just going to drag and drop the mod into the data files directory. And now we've got a mod to sort of test in our data files directory, so we're going to go back to our command window here, and we are going to type ts3command clean, quotation mark, a good cottage.esp, end quotation marks, And you'll notice that .esp part is especially important. Tes3 Command does require that you use the file extension, whether it be .esp or .esm. It needs that in order to find the file, otherwise it'll generate an error. And anyways, once we're finished typing that in, we're going to hit enter. And Tes3 Command is going to go through and clean the mod of all dirty references, junk cells, and GMSTs. And now you can see the results here, and my goodness, there were quite a few dirty references in this mod, weren't there? According to this, there were 142 dirty references, 1 junk cell, and just sort of scrolling up here, you can see there were a lot of different dirty references in a lot of different categories. There were statics, books, containers, weapons, and so on and so forth. And an important thing to note here is that the output, that is to say the clean mod, was saved as a new mod, clean underscore a good cottage.esp, and the original mod, a good cottage.esp, has remained the same. That's a little safety feature. Basically, the original mod acts as a backup in case something gets messed up with the cleaned version of the mod, or Tes3 Command accidentally cleaned something that was not supposed to be cleaned out of the original mod, so you always have that backup that you can go back to. That said, it is important to note that the clean mod is always going to be the one with the clean underscore in front, and it's going to do this for every mod you clean. So when activating mods in your Morrowind launcher, you're going to want to make sure you activate the right one. Now if we just go back to our data files directory here, we're going to find, if we scroll down here, clean underscore a good cottage.esp, which has the last modified date being September 18th, 2003, and that's kind of important because the Morrowind launcher, sort of sorts mods by the date last modified, at least by default anyway, and Tes3 Command always keeps the same modified date as the original mod, so you'll pretty much always find it right next to each other in the Morrowind launcher. And to demonstrate, we're just going to load up the Morrowind launcher real quick, go to data files, and scroll down. There it is. You'll find a clean a good cottage right next to a good cottage, and you'll want to remember to activate the clean version of the mod if you want the clean mod in your game. So just going to double click on that real quick to activate it, and then we'll go and hit OK and exit out of the Morrowind launcher. Now some of you might be a bit curious as to why cleaning mods is important. And the reason why it's important is that sometimes mods do contain dirty references, game settings or GMSTs, and occasionally junk cells, and these can cause issues. These can cause bugs, they can cause mod conflicts, they can corrupt your save game sometimes, they can lead to object or NPC duplication. Sometimes when you see, doublings of NPCs or objects that's caused by dirty mods or something of that nature. So it's always important to go through and clean all the mods that you're adding to your Morrowind save game, just to be on the safe side. Of course, that said, some mods do make deliberate changes to the vanilla game references and settings. So if you're downloading a bunch of mods, just, make sure to read the README files, make sure that you're not cleaning out something that's supposed to be there. That's always a good idea to do, is just, read the README file. Of course, having said that, I know a lot of you are not going to read the README file, so don't blame me if you accidentally clean out something that was supposed to be there. But anyway, moving on to our next command here, we're going to take a look at the Tes3 command Multipatch, which is a very useful command function that goes through and checks for a number of common issues in the mods that you have loaded up in your activated load order. And basically, your load order is all the mods you have activated in your Morrowind launcher. So, see all these mods with the check marks on them. Those are the mods that the Multipatch command is going to go through and check for some common bug issues, a few mod conflicts, and to merge level lists and things of that nature. And I'll go into a bit more detail about that here in a minute. So there are 3 main things that the Multipatch command does. The first is it checks for any mods that might change or alter cell names, which is to say interior or exterior cell names like, Balmora or Caldera. And the second thing that the Multipatch command does is it fixes the common fog bug, which is an issue that happens with mods that have interiors with the fog level set to 0. For whatever reason, in vanilla Morrowind, interiors that have the fog level set to 0 become pitch black. You won't be able to see anything in them no matter what. And the Multipatch command basically just goes through and fixes that little issue so that you'll be able to see normally in those interior cells, which is again quite handy. And the final thing that the Multipatch Command does, which is perhaps the most important thing, is it merges leveled lists. Morrowind, like all the Elder Scrolls and Bethesda games, uses leveled lists to randomly generate loot and enemies for you to face out in the wilderness. And basically, a lot of mods out there use these same leveled lists to add new content to the game. Like, take for example, if we just load up our web browser again, Enhanced Economics by Crankrilla, and also Loot Well Earned by Sionomics. Both of these mods introduce new content via leveled lists. In this case, they introduce a lot of new items, like weapons, daggers, swords, axes, amulets, clothing, and so on and so forth. And in order to experience the content of both mods, you have to merge leveled lists, otherwise the newest mod would overwrite the changes made by the older mod. So you would only experience the content added to the leveled lists of one of those two mods and not both of them at the same time. Which is why merging leveled lists is so important, especially if you're using a lot of items and creature mods. So anyway, enough with the explanations here. I'm just going to go ahead and type in the command, Tes3cmd multipatch, and then we're just going to hit enter, and it's just going to automatically go through and do the rest by itself, as we'll see here in a minute. Alright, so first things first, it goes through and scans all the plugins. I have about 50 or 60 plugins in my active load order at the moment, so it goes through and scans all those. It found 2 fogbug cells that it went ahead and fixed, as you can see here in the sort of summary. And it also found 6 leveled creature lists and 38 leveled items lists that went ahead and merged together. And that's what LEVC and LEVI mean right there. And at the bottom here, you can see it's activated the multipatch.esp. Basically, when you run this command, it generates a new .esp that contains all the merged leveled lists and all the bug fixes together in it. And that does mean that you'll have to play Morrowind with the multipatch.esp activated in your Morrowind launcher in order for the desired bug fixes to, take place. And if we load up our Morrowind launcher right here, you'll find the multipatch.esp right down here at the bottom. See, it's right there. It's already activated. And an important thing to note here, though, is that you will need to regenerate your multipatch command every time you add a new mod to your activated load order. So, for example, if I'm going to activate Alvindrace version 3.0, and what the heck, let's go ahead and add Kragenmore on top of that right there. Let's go ahead and hit OK. And now I'm going to need to rerun the multipatch command, because I've just added 2 mods to my mod list here. So we're going to type in Tes3cmd multipatch again. It's going to go through and scan everything and check for bug fixes and all that, which should just take a moment. And as you can see, it has found a few more things to add on to the original multipatch.esp. It found 7 leveled creatures and 66 leveled items lists that are now merged together. So it's a good thing that we went ahead and, reran the multipatch command. And ideally, you should rerun the multipatch command every single time you add a new mod to your Morrowind install. So, just keep that in mind. It is extremely handy. It prevents a lot of potentially serious issues like game crashes, and also allows you to experience more content by merging leveled lists. So I do highly recommend you go through and run that each time. And we do have one last command to show off here, the Tes3cmd Fixit function, which I'm going to be honest, I don't really recommend. I think it's a bit safer to go through and individually clean each mod in your Morrowind install rather than using the Fixit command. And basically what the Fixit command does is it goes through and tries to clean every mod in your Morrowind install and fix all the issues that it finds, including running the multipatch command in addition to cleaning mods. So it does a lot. And the problem there is that some mods do make intentional changes to various references and game settings, and thus by cleaning those mods, you'll be accidentally destroying an intentional purpose of that mod, which is why you should always read the readme files for those mods before, cleaning them. And if you have a lot of mods installed at the same time, chances are there's at least one mod on there that does make intentional changes to various references and game settings. So using the Fixit command is a bit risky. It's convenient because it goes through and fixes and cleans everything all at once, and you don't have to, type in a bunch of commands. You just have to type in the one command and everything is done for you. But at the same time, it is risky because you might be cleaning something that you don't want cleaned. especially if you have some sort of gameplay mod that makes, some additional tweaks or changes to game settings or something of that nature. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and type it in here, Tes3 command Fixit, and then we just hit enter. And fair warning, this is going to take a really long time. It's going to go through and clean and fix everything in all the mods I have installed. And again, that's quite a lot. It's like 60 or 65 mods. It's going to take a while. I think the last time I clocked this at about 4 minutes, and it's probably going to take a very similar amount of time. So we're just going to skip ahead to the end here. Alright, here we can see the results, and it's basically gone through and done everything that the Multipatch Command does, including merging level lists, as well as cleaning all the mods in all load order. So, that's a bit convenient, but again, a bit risky if you have a mod installed that makes deliberate changes. So, I would say, use the Fixit command sparingly, and only in certain circumstances. Anyway, I guess that pretty much concludes this tutorial video. Hopefully you found it somewhat useful. Though, if you're at all confused about something or need help with something, do please post a comment down in the video description below, and I'll try to help you any way I can. And also, if you have any suggestions for future tutorial videos, please let me know, and I'll see what I can do. And anyway, other than that, again, you'll find the written tutorials and wikis down in the video description below. So do please go ahead and take a look at that. You'll find some other commands that we did not cover in today's video, which are perhaps a bit more advanced than what the typical user would require. And there's also some pretty nice documentation by Pinkertonius that should prove to be quite useful. And anyway, I guess that's pretty much the end of this video here. So thanks for watching, and again, do let me know if you have any comments or issues, and I'll see you all next time.